One of my favorite people has joined us today, Mrs. Kristi Huber of the United Way.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Kristi, the Hubinator, how are you?
I'm awesome. This is so fun to see you and to be a part of this today. Thanks a lot for asking me over.
Well, 6 feet away, and you and I both are huggers.
I know, it's killing me. It's killing me.
This has been a wild ride, and holy cow, I can talk, and I know I covered at the top of the hour what's happening in real estate, and we've seen some shifts. But man, nonprofits must be losing their minds right now because you're reliant on generosity of others. And when chaos hits, people just have a tendency to be less generous, not out of spite or hate or malice, but simply out of a need to protect theirs first. How's the United Way faring? How's the United Way feeling with all this?
Well, thanks for asking the question, and thank you for everything that you and your team do for our community. Eric, seriously, you're a tremendous partner for us. So
thank you.
Just thanks for asking the question. I would say that the United Way, at this point in time, is faring well in the fact that we are looking forward to what's going to happen after this. Mm-hmm. We're trying to meet the needs and work with our community partners to meet current needs, but it feels like the entire community has been kind of hit with a stun gun.
Yeah.
And everybody is just kind of in their homes, and people want to get out. They want to help their neighbors, mm-hmm. but there is this new normal. And you talk about this social distancing and the awkward new normal. We can't get out, and we can't necessarily, do the hands-on projects that we normally would do. So we are seeing a generosity come from the community, supporting a lot of the work that needs to be done. Specifically, we're seeing a lot of needs in food. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are asking for help around food. And then we believe that the next step that we're going to see is shelter.
Yeah, they just changed some eviction rules as well, and so I know North Dakota and Minnesota operate with different systems, but now people will have a tendency to get evicted if they haven't made their payments.
Exactly, and so we at United Way, we have a lot of great partners, and so we have been asking them on a weekly basis, getting information in from across the community, across Cass and Clay counties, and interestingly, we are seeing a decrease in the number of evictions happening right now, mm-hmm. which would mirror exactly what you just said, but we do think that we need to be prepared as a community for once things start to open up and people aren't going back to work, maybe the stimulus payment has been used for their rent, then what? Yeah. And so that's what United Way and our partners are really looking down the road, at least a month to 3 months. What's the next 90 days going to look like for our community?
That's one of the biggest challenges I've had as a business owner right now is I have to live in future tense for decision making with no idea what the future is going to hold. We're educated guessers at best because the education is all over the board of what we should or shouldn't do. And in the United Way, not only do you have to be an educated guesser for what the community needs, but you also have to be an educated guesser for what the generosity is going to bring in order to piece all this together. You're getting it from both sides, Kristi.
Absolutely. Well, and we know we've been tracking all of these different data points, from the city of Fargo, city of West Fargo, Moorhead. We've been asking our community partners across the board. So we feel like if we can track those things, that will give us at least some understanding of the general needs today. But like you said, it's like you have to plan for not just plan B now, it's like plan A through double Z, right? And that takes a huge amount of energy. Yeah. And creativity, and it's really pushing a lot of people to their limits. But we have great generosity from our community. A lot of people are reaching out saying, where can I help? The United Way started a COVID response fund. And so we have been working to just raise funds through that. We've had just a tremendous amount of community support, and it just inspires me so much when an individual goes to our website, goes online, makes a donation, and we want them to know that you are absolutely making a difference in the lives of families and individuals in our community when you do that. So we want to make sure that we're putting those dollars right where they need for Plan Double Z.
Kristi, if everything went according to plan, we wouldn't have any stories to tell, would we?
Absolutely.
And so here we find ourselves. I have to say this, and you know my faith. I'm not afraid to share my faith. You don't need to believe what I believe, but I'm not going to hide what makes me shine. And Ephesians 2:10 talks about how we're created, we're God's handiwork, created in His image to do good works that are already set aside for us to do. That's our purpose in life. That's what we're called to do. Is we're called to do good and to serve. And right now, we're told to stay home and not do anything.
Yeah.
How do we find those opportunities to serve and to give? What can we be doing right now? Because if anybody listening or watching right now is like, hey, that's me. I want to do something. I feel at loss when I sit on my hands. What can we be doing right now?
So one of the other things that United Way is working on is a program called Home for Good. And we are really focusing on making sure that families that do find themselves in a state of homelessness have the resources they need to transition into long-term stable housing. And so Home for Good is another program that United Way is lifting up, and it's on our website, unitedwaycastclay.org. And you can go onto that website and you can actually shop for items that a family would need as they transition into this stable housing. And so we know that if you have a pillow, if you have a blanket, if you have some of the basic items as you transition into a home, that you will have a much higher percentage and rate of success. And so people can go onto Home for Good on our website at unitedwaycastclay.org, and they can go and they can pick those items out and they can work with their families and they can talk about what does it mean to be in a state of homelessness and what would that look like for us if we were in that situation, and isn't it important for us to be helping others.
Awesome opportunities that are out there, Kristi. I don't want it to be lost on people that even though we're in this new dance, the demand for people who are generous with their time, their talents, and their treasures is higher now than it ever has been. The United Way is moving into their campaign. The summer, the fall is really when you gear up. You're raising near $6 million a year for this community. You're building a new building, super exciting things that are happening. There's a bigger demand today than there was yesterday, right, Kristi?
Yeah, well, we know that there are over 14,000 people across Cass and Clay counties that have filed for unemployment.
There's 250,000 people in Cass and Clay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And 14,000 have filed.
Over 14.
Jeez Louise.
And so, of course, right now, I think the thing we also have to fight is that idea that, we think that families have got it covered. And it's meant to right now. Short term, maybe families do. But we have to think long term. And what is the ramification?
I heard a stat recently that said that 40% of people are $400 away from like bankruptcy.
Yes.
or like homelessness and like not being able to pay all their bills.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is for people to not judge those individuals. We don't know what they're going through. It could be medical issues, mental health issues. All of us at some point in time have needed someone to give us a hand up, not a hand out, but just give us, as a neighbor, give us an opportunity to make that next positive step. And so, I think if we can resist the judgment and just release the generosity, I think as a community, we are going to fare so well if we can have that mindset.
If we, here's a fun little play. If we play for the person next to us.
Exactly. That is at the heart of it. And, don't buy in to skepticism. Keep your heart open to generosity and abundance, and that flows back. And
empathy will reign here supreme, won't it, Kristi?
Absolutely. And just know that trusted partners like United Way, we are working day in and day out to make sure that families and individuals are getting the help that they need, the specific help for them to have long-term success. It's not, any dollar is not wasted. We absolutely are putting it right where it needs to go for the best results.
Well, my wife and I have been avid supporters of the United Way for years. Hatch Realty and Hatch Coaching have been avid supporters, and we're going to continue to do so. So, Kristi, thanks for all that you do. Folks, unitedwaycastclay.org. Find out how to get your hands dirty and to get a little more involved so we can do some good in this community. In the meantime, we're going to go to break. This is Real Estate Radio with Erik Hatch.